Siu Lim Tao. Start off Siu Lim Tao, what it's all about is getting you to think. Getting you to think to yourself, getting rid of all the small ideas. This is really what we're looking at. So we're starting off with Siu Lim Tao. We're starting off, initially we're looking at this basic stance, dropping the knees, lifting the arms up, toes out, heels out, hips forward, straight back, head over the heels. So what we're looking at is this position for a posture, so the knees, so you can still see the toes. You don't want the knees too far forward, drop down so you can still see the toes. The arms are pulled right back so the fist is flat, forearm horizontal. In this position it's not out, it's not back, it's straight. It's the shoulder that's more important about. You're trying to keep the shoulder in the same position, the fist's back. The fist simply folded, thumb in this position. So what we're looking at is the wrist is straight, so it's not up, it's not down, it's one straight line from the elbow through the bones. We're always looking at structure, constant structure. So every time you look at yourself, whether it's in the mirror, sideways, or from the front, you can see precise things. If you can see your elbow sticking out, it's wrong. If you can see your elbow down, if you can see it anyway, it's wrong. If you look down and you can't see your toes, it's gone too far. If you can see too much of your feet, it's again, you're also wrong. What we're looking at is precise positions. So from here, again, drop, back, toes out, heels out, hips forward. Straight in the back, head, eyes looking forward. If you want to check on your feet, check on your feet, but be conscious that you have to come back, that your eyes are horizontal, you're not looking up, you're not looking down. Your head and your back, everything is horizontal. So it's not here and it's not there. What you're trying to do is create a situation where the shoulders are over the heels, not over the balls of the feet or the toes. So it's an important part where it changes the stress in the muscles. Here, it's easy to relax into this position. It's a very natural standing position. This is not what we're after. We're after the weight being on the heels. And so this is the part that you're feeling. This is the muscles that you're feeling here. So you're sitting down into this point. So from your head, straight down the shoulders, straight down, through the hips to the knees. This should form a straight line. What we're going to look at, I'm going to talk about here, is what little exercises you can do from that. So from here, I'm going to break them down and look at what we can be doing at each point. So from here, drop down, up, there, there. What we're looking at here is an understanding of what this stance is. This stance is two stances. We're talking about this is one stance, this is the other stance. This stance is strengthening your leg and your posture for going in this direction, in this leg for going in this direction. So as an exercise we can actually practice this understanding this without having the feet in this position, just simply turning, not moving the body weight. This is important because it's an understanding the distance in between the legs and the heels. The thighs should be just going straight down. The thighs need to be vertical, which is the first point. So we're not forcing the knees in to form the, you're not trying to grab a hold of a sheep or grab a hold of a goat. It's just, you're simply understanding that the thighs are vertical. The next important precision point is that the inside of the heels is the same width as the shoulders. Now again, this is a very precise and easily understood position. Find the weight, the distance of your shoulders, and that's the distance that goes in between your heels. Not, you don't want it too narrow, and you don't want it too wide. This position is important because it's telling you something about structure. If the feet are together, and I'm up against something here, I cannot push in that direction. I have to have my heel outside the line of my body to be able to push. However, I don't want my feet too wide, because if my feet are too wide, I can't easily or quickly stand up onto one leg. I want to be in a position where I can easily move balanced onto one leg, to turn onto one leg or the other leg. From here, I can't. My feet are just that little bit wider, but I have to throw myself. I can't just rotate onto the foot. So the stance is very, very important in the width of the heels to the width of the shoulders, and the knees are vertically down from the hips. So the thighs are just vertical. The other side of it to understand is the feet are pointing in approximately at an equilateral triangle. So it's another easy point. So you're not your toes on too far in, your toes on too far out. Again, what we're looking for is later when we start turning, because this is essentially about being here, and all we're doing is this foot is ready to go in this direction, this foot becomes parallel to the back foot. So if I step, again, the feet remain parallel. If I take this step forward, again, the feet remain parallel. I stay flat-footed, step flat-footed. The importance of this is I'm stepping forward with this part of the foot, the lower leg, not this part. This bit here is bone, this bit here is muscle. This bit here I can't use the trash to the leg. I can't do that with this part. So we're understanding that this is the stepping stance, where this front leg is almost like a fusa or a bandsaw, again, that it's feeling out. So as an exercise for understanding stance and stepping, we have our basic stance, set position, straight back. Imagine the back being straight, so you've got, imagine that you're holding something heavy, you're going to lift something heavy, therefore you're going to need a straight back. And keep your head back and out of the way. Again, you don't want to, if you're fighting somebody, you don't want your head closer to your opponent. Bring it back. If you're going to lift something heavy, you don't want to do it with a curved back. You lift with a straight back. So if you're going to hit something hard, again, if you're going to put energy through a structure, make sure it's at its strongest, not curved and weak. So these are all simple, obvious statements that I'm making. They're all simple and obvious structural understandings that you should be able to pick up on. This is not, it's nothing to do with thousands of years of Shaolin training. It's about you understanding your body mechanics. So we're looking at a movement of a stance. A stance is just understanding your legs. So let's actually look at them. So a drop, lift, toes out, heels out, hips forward. What I want you to do is actually understand this turn from here. So this is just one exercise. So we weight is 50-50. It stays 50-50 and just turn the foot and then rotate back. So what I'm doing is turning on this foot. The important part is turning around this. So this foot, the heel doesn't move, this foot doesn't move. And I'm not really, all I'm doing is forming the stance. This foot is really just turning off, it's lifting up off the floor as I turn and dropping down in a position that's parallel with the other foot. And then I go back to the original position. So what I really want to try to emphasize at this point, it's about this turning to here. It's this turning to here. This is the starting of what, when we talk in Chinese terms, is the Hun Ma, the turning stance. So it's the turn, this turning stance. This turning stance. So we're looking at, but this foot doesn't move and we need to have the weight on the heel. We need to get a feeling that if the foot is planted, and I turn on it, and I move back. From this position, my foot is planted, I don't move and I'm turning. You don't want to be on the ball of the foot. If you're on the ball of the foot, you'll tend to find that this will happen. If you turn on the ball of the foot, your heel moves away. And this means that there's a negative energy involved. There's a negative movement away from your opponent. I'm driving that way, and if I turn on the ball of my foot, there's part of my structure is moving away. Also because the ankle's involved, there's a cushioning effect. This is what it's designed for. It's designed that if I hit something solid, I've got a cushioning effect to protect my body. This is through evolution we've developed these ideas. In Wing Chun we're trying to get rid of these natural, instinctive safety features that are there to design to protect our body. We want to transfer as much energy as possible into our opponent. So the heel stays flat. It's off the heel. So I'm driving off at this point. So the energy is going up through the structure, up through my hip, up through my back and the stomach to the shoulder. So what we're looking at is this understand, stepping and driving, turning. So from here, turn, and turn. Just simply that, just looking at this first part of it, just understanding turning the hip from the heel through the knee, turn the hip, then we turn back. One leg just turns and then back. So we're just understanding one leg at a time. It's not about where this foot turns. This foot turns approximately halfway through, around about the middle of the foot, but that's not important. What's important is this foot, this leg stays still and rotate. So simply from here, rotate on one foot. So this is the first part, the first step where you can actually look at it. The next part is just simply straighten this leg to drive. Now this is preparation for jump cue, where you're looking at a full mark turning in the first third. And in the last third, the full drive off the back leg. But now we're going to start is introducing the idea to visualize right from day one. We're going to understand the basic stance, understand it from this position, from here, I'm coming off the heel, turn on the heel, drive off the heel, then come back. So just turn on the heel, drive off the heel, and then square back. Turn on the heel, drive on the heel, and come back. So when we're looking at stances, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the leg. We're focusing on the leg. Stance is a stationary thing. This is where the problems come in. People say that, this is a forward-facing stance. People say this is the fighting stance. These are nonsense stances because you should never be stationary. If you're in a fight, you're constantly moving. What you need to understand and develop is this understanding that this is the structure of the leg that you use to drive with. So this position is repeated, whether it's in the dummy. So it's this constant movement through a position where I step off, I drive through this position and then come back. It's this position I drive through. So we're talking about understanding right from the start the structure of the leg. In Siu Lim Tao, there's two structures to look at. The structure then of the legs, then understand the body is a strong back, bringing the hips into place. So it's not this relaxed here, it's bringing from the knees through the hips to the shoulders into alignment, into a straight line. So this is my stance structure. When we're looking at this to here and back, everybody talks about understanding the centre line. Now what we're looking at is also describing the inner gate area. The way I do it, it's a personal view, is I have my shoulder to elbow and then bring my forearm across. So what I'm looking at here is this fixed elbow position, but the area from shoulder, elbow to fingertip defines the inner gate area. And obviously where my forearms cross is my centre line, both down and up and then back. So it's simply understanding this inner gate area and my centre line. This defines that to that. Now I emphasise that by bringing my fist into a Wu-style position. I let my fist relax out to a man-style position, and in the last few inches or 10 centimetres, that's when the punch will be coming in. I open the hand, keeping the arm straight, lock at the elbow, the wrist and elbow, rotate in a Hun style, relax, close, and pull back. Fist is a Wu style, relax is the man style, straighten out, open, back, slowly rotate, close, and then pull back. This action here, a lot of people have lost it. To me, I always say in the forms, if you do something once, it's about a technique. If you do something 3 times, it's a lot more important. This technique here, this Hun style, the circular movement, is done right from day 1 all the way through the forms. It's repeated so many times, it's got to be something very, very important. Not just to be done as a flourish. To me, what we're looking at here, again, we're looking at strengthening. We're looking at the stances, is there to strengthen the legs. This, before we've started the forms, we're looking at trying to start to strengthen the wrist. Because it's important that if you make a contact with the fist, if the wrist is not strong, it will bend either one way or the other. So that's what we're doing by doing this, by keeping shoulder in position, elbow locked, wrist bent, fingers straight, pull back. We're focusing the tension in the forearm muscles here. Slowly rotate as far as we can without disturbing where the shoulder lies. Relax, close, and then back. So it's this tension exercise in here that we're looking for. It's a constant and it develops all the way through. You just get better and better at it. The stronger your wrists are, the stronger the forearm is, the better your techniques, the better your mini grabs come in. This comes in a lot later on, but right from day 1, strengthen the wrist. So these are the exercises from the opening part to here. Then we're going into the first third. This is where we're really starting to understand the movement of the shoulder. What we're looking at is it also defines again and reinforces the definition of the centre line. From here, the centre line, my wrist comes under the centre line, my shoulder stays as close as it can in a strong position. I bring the elbow in towards the centre line. As my wrist travels out the centre line, my elbow travels out 1 fist distance away. At this point, it's quite fixed. My hand is horizontal at this point. It's not pointing straight up. It's pointing forward for a reason. Also, at this point is the height of the top of the rib cage. So this makes a very precise position that we'll have. So we've got a definite position that the tansao is in the right or wrong place for each individual. So I have it at this point. So from here, this is horizontal to the top of my rib cage. It's not to my chin. This way through. It's a fist distance with the palm horizontal at the level of my top of my rib cage. So it's not down here and it's not up there. It's not out here and it's not down there. It has a very precise position that you can actually look at, focus at, that you can correct. Because this is what it's all about. It's about you as an individual being able to correct your own position, being able to see something, understand if something's too low, too high, too out, to one side. It's all about you understanding yourself. So this movement, wrist onto the centre line, elbow 1 fist distance. Wrist stays on the centre line, hand comes back, rotates around, and I rotate up to the defensive jab side position. The elbow is now moved out. From here, I pull using the shoulder, pulling the elbow back to this position, the 1 fist distance off. The fingers stay vertical. The vertical in this plane, not there, here. In this plane, it's not there, it's here, it's vertical. From here, the forearm stays there, the wrist stays on the centre, I relax down. Thumb under the second finger. From here again now, the elbow, the shoulder pushes the elbow in to push the wrist out along the centre line. The elbow comes in, 1 fist distance. Wrist on centre line, stays there, circles around, up, defensive jam start. Goes back, again, vertical, relax down, second one, in, elbow in, out, 1 fist distance. Wrist stays there, up and back. Relax down for the third one, out, around, up and back. Now we'll do the packs out. You've already got the line of the forearm, which shows you the direction of the hand to the outer gate boundary. Relax it back to the centre, straighten the hand, flatten, back, rotate, close and pull back. What we're looking through when we're going through the first third of Siu Lim Tao, we're looking at developing the shoulder. It's about understanding and exercising the shoulder muscles. Just as in the stance, it's all about correctly stressing these muscles here to develop strong legs. Now we're looking at is actually correctly tension and using total tension. So we're exercising all the muscles in the shoulder. So this is very precise and controlled. It should take, you're working towards, if you do it to start with at this sort of speed, so it takes not too long, out and back, but you should be working towards to take at least 1 minute from there to there, and then 1 minute from there to there. The slower the better. This is a dynamic tension exercise. This is there to strengthen the whole shoulder unit. You're strengthening the muscles in a way that you'd be using them as a punch, and then in a way that you'd be using them as a lapser or a jutser. So it's this whole understanding, again, focusing on shoulder movement. You're not using the legs, you're not using your stomach or your back, everything else is square, you're just using the shoulder. The strength of the shoulder is its flexibility. The weakness of the shoulder is its flexibility. So it becomes very important to focus on exercises that help to strengthen the shoulder and give it more flexibility. This is why when we're pulling right back, this is what we're doing at this point. We're creating a stretch over the shoulder. Not a relaxation, a stretch. This becomes important later on when we're doing Shisa. Form the stance, structure, stress your legs. Make sure everything's correct. Define your center line in your inner gate area, high and low. From the Wu Sao, Man Sao, punch, open, back, rotate, close, pull back. Wu Sao, Man Sao, punch, open, back, rotate, close, pull back. The Tan Sao, top of the rib cage. Defensive Jam Sao. Back, Fu Sao, push out. Defensive Jam Sao, back to Wu Sao. Relax down, Fu Sao, push out. Defensive Jam Sao, back to Wu Sao, relax down, Fu Sao, out, round up. Defensive Jam Sao, back. Pack to the inner gate, outer gate boundary, back to the centre, palm strike, flat, back, rotate, close, pull back. What I'm emphasising now are these stop points. These are becomes at the other points, what happened all the way through, even opening up the stance. We're developing these ideas. Stop, 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 stop. Even when you've done it from you're closing down from the position, stop, stop, and stop. What we're doing with these ones, we're creating moments when we remember what we've just done and we think what we're about to do. So these are the way to define and give you reference points to understand when we're doing something right or something wrong. So these stop points are something, if you can incorporate them into your way of thinking, again, Siu Lim Tao is much more a way of thinking than anything else. Get rid of the small ideas, the little ideas, and learn to focus, learn to concentrate. I always say that Siu Lim Tao is almost a form of meditation. So we're trying to understand this, learning to teach ourselves, but to do that we have to learn to look for mistakes. The mirror is a useful tool, but it also has problems. When you look at a mirror and you don't think, your subconscious makes up for any errors that it sees. Just like when you actually read a page, then all the words are all mixed up, but as long as the first and the last letter are correct, your brain will read the word correctly. Your brain, your subconscious, can make up for any error. So when you look at yourself in a mirror and you're making any slight mistake, whether your hand's there, whether your hand's not vertical this way or that way, whether it's that way or that way, whether your fingers are not together, your brain, because it knows what it should be doing, it will allow you to continue because it knows what you're trying to do. It will be kind with you. But that's just what you've got to try to fight. You've got to try to fight all the incorrect techniques that you're doing. Whether your hand is there or there, whether your cancer is there or there, whether your fingers are there or there, is not going to make a vast difference when you're facing violence or on the streets. But where it does make a difference is how well you know yourself. And this is what we're looking for. We're looking for to develop Siu Lim Tao as a method for you to understand yourself. This is why I use verticals, horizontals, right angles, horizontals, squares, 90 degrees. So what very precise positions that can be easily spotted, easily corrected, easily seen if it's wrong, but you have to be looking for the mistakes to actually do it. So this is what we're actually, from this part of the form, we're looking more. The first third, it's about understanding the structure and the movement of the shoulder, expressing energy through the elbow, being focused at the wrist. So after the first third, we'll go to the second third of Siu Lim Tao. Now what we've done is we've developed strong legs. We're starting to develop the stomach and the back, and then we've also developed the shoulder. So we've developed the strength of the muscles. Now what we need to do is understand how to use them. This is essentially what the second third is all about. It's developing two things. Understanding going from relaxation into tension, but also the extremes of where we're going to apply this energy without moving the body. So from the side, we understand down to the side, behind the body, down and in front. Out to the sides, in front, behind, straight arm out, down and up. So what we're looking at is very precise positions to understand the energy of relax and tense. Here the fingers must be pointing in. You don't want the fingers pointing out if you go in towards something this way. You want the palm heel facing out. So you relax the last 10 centimeters, pushing down, the fingers pointing in. And we go back behind. What I try to do here is to get this part, the palm, to go out horizontally, not down. To me, this is an important part of relax, go out. I don't believe in going down. I believe, my understanding, my personal belief, is that somebody's behind me, I will put a hand back to give me time to turn around. I'm not going to wait for somebody to grab a hold of me. I do not use this as a ground strike. To me, if somebody's that close, I'm not going to try to hit them with this. It's not very hard. I will grab and pull. So what we're looking at from this is simply an understanding to put an arm behind you, give yourself time to turn around. But in the form what we're looking at is it's down to the side, horizontally back to the walls, right? Over the top, down. From here, the energy is going out horizontally, it's going that way, it's not going this way. I don't like this facile or whisking hand. What I've developed over the years is actually to say it's a Bustow. Bustow is when you use the hand. BUG is the fingers. Bustow is this part of the hand. So what we're doing now is it's going out. So it's this, in the last 10 centimeters, out horizontally. We're going out in this direction. So it's out, and understanding parameters of going, firing energies out this way. From here I cover 180 degrees. All I need to do to understand 360 is to make one step. And I've got an understanding, one small 90-degree step, and I can cover 360 degrees. So it's not about big movements. So from here, but what's important is relax, tense, 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 relax, tense. So to start off, what we're looking for is this gum cell energy. Gum just means to pin. Quite often you see that's done, and it looks like a pack cell, but it's called a gum cell, because that's the difference. A pack cell is a more defensive use of the hand, whereas a gum cell is more offensive, used to pin. So it's this pinning action, rather than a pack cover. A subtle difference in understanding how you're applying. That's why, as an instance, I can say, what is that technique? It could be a pack cell, it could be a gum cell, it could be a palm strike. It depends upon how it's used. I can only tell you afterwards. The structure is the same, its use is different. So now what we're looking at is this feeling of the gum. It's the energy. It's not so much about the technique, it's about this developing this feeling of relaxation, tension, relax, tense, relax, tense, relax, tense, relax. Now, when we go from the offensive, this is the offensive cancer, relax it to a tancer, rotate, relax, and then immediately, this is the only difference, we don't, everywhere else, move, then put the energy in. So move, relax, tension in the last movement, over the top, relax, tension in the last part, relax, tension in the last part, relax, tension in the last part. We relax this time, it's tension immediately, because you're already in contact. If you're doing a lap cell or a jut cell, you're already in a contact, and so your lap, it's on contact, then your lap. So it's subtly different with the jut cell coming back. But then relax, then it becomes a view cell or a view G, it's up to you. But this next part is also important. What we're looking at here is we're bending the wrist, keeping the elbows straight, and it's got relax down and pull down straight. Thumb onto the little finger, pull in, creating tension here, focus on the wrist, relax up, and pull it up. What we're doing here is we understand this relax, tense, relax, tense. This is where we're starting to investigate these muscles in the chest area here. This is different to the muscles that we're understanding with the jut. This is more of an elbow pulling back. Now we're investigating the muscles that are doing this and that. This and that. This is not necessarily a technique, but it becomes, you add it to later on, it becomes part of some very big moves, especially when you get towards the end of the view G. This uses a double lap. With a double lap, you're using the jut energy, you're using this energy, you're using your upper body and also your dropping. So it's a lot of exercises you can look at. to actually practice these things out. Again, just understanding just down to the side. You can make these up, it's just but it's important when we're looking at is that the fingers are pulled away when pushing down. From here, it's going back. From down in front. So you can actually, if you want to either look at these, I don't prefer, I prefer not to use them against kicks. I'm thinking about, even though these are more low strength. When you're looking at using a gun style onto a knee or a kick, it's a bit risky. You're much better off using a guard style, which comes in later. These are not really applications as such. They're more of a way. You can use them as applications, but they're more an emergency. It's more important that you understand this. Relax, tense, down to the side, out to the side, in front. The difference in between offensive jam style and a defensive jam style. This is an important realization. You've already come across the defensive jam style from the tan style in the first third, Hun style, defensive jam style. And you relax it back, you come out with a fuxa, it relaxes around, relax, tense again. This is a defensive jam style. This occurs quite often also in the Chum Q as well as Bu G. To me, a defensive jam style is when you are unsighted. I.e., if I'm off fighting towards somebody else, and I'm attacked from a different angle, I will come back with a defensive jam style. Now, the defensive jam style slightly is not much different to the offensive jam style. The only difference is the wrist is actually on the centre line. Whereas the offensive jam style, it's pointed at the opponent's centre line. Protect my centre line, threaten the opponent's centre line. This is the difference in between the fuxa and a ding style. And chi style, this again becomes reinforced later. Fuxa, ding style. Defensive jam style, offensive jam style. When we look at the defensive jam style, as I say, it's more when you are caught out, you're offline, you come back to and cover your centre line and inner gate area. Your offensive jam style is used when you can see the opponent coming in to punch, you know what's coming, and you can cover it, and it then can be fired out straight away. So it's a much more specific response to a threatening situation. You can see it coming in, I know I'm on the outside of the line, I cover the line, then I can fire it out. Either just use it for, or probably use a small lap to clear the arm. When punches come in, block it, my hand is pointing towards my opponent's centre line, clear the punching hand, then either use punch or a palm, whatever your preference is. But this is the offensive rather than defensive jam style. I've already gone through what we're talking about is the jut or the lap. And this action is the same for a jut or a lap. It's just if it's on the outside of the arm, it's a lap style. It's on the inside of the arm, it's a jut style. So what we're looking at is this relaxed and tense. We're understanding the muscles that are coming back. This is what we've developed the muscles in the first third that are going out as punches, and the muscles that are coming back as the jut or the lap. So again, this is a reinforcement of the knowledge that we've developed, the understanding of the mechanics of the shoulder, and after the development of stronger muscles in the shoulder, how to pull and how to strike. So this is essential part of what the second third is about. It's about relax, tense, relax, tense, relax, tense, relax, tense. This whole understanding, this reinforcement, it seems simple, and you see a lot of people when they're doing Siu Lim Tao, in this part they do it. But especially so-called masters, once they've stopped thinking about it, And so also when they get to the last third, people forgot. Because it's not Siu Lim Tao, to go back to what I said earlier, it's about a frame of mind. It's not about a series of movements. You don't do Siu Lim Tao, then go on to Chung Kyu and forget Siu Lim Tao, then go on to BUG and forget Siu Lim Tao and Chung Kyu. Each one is a repetitive stage, but Siu Lim Tao in itself is a frame of mind to teach yourself. Is a frame of mind to look at yourself, to look for any mistakes, to look for any errors, to visualize what you're trying to do with something. You only learn when you think. If you're just mimicking the moves of your instructor, that's all you're doing, mimicking the moves of your instructor. You are not developing their visualization, their mental understanding, their mental knowledge of what they're doing. All you're doing is you're doing the surface movements. How people think about their moves and how they look can be two slightly different things. And this is the problem of the student-instructor relationship. This is what I'm trying to do with this way of teaching, to create structures, understand structures, understand usage, understand the simple transfer of energy in a much more scientific way, structures and function. Muscle groups, identify them in isolation, then later on bring them back together. The forms all the way through Siu Lim Tao and Chung Kyu especially deal with these isolated muscle groups. Now what we're doing then was, once we've brought them all together in Siu Lim Tao and Chung Kyu, then we bring a more of an understanding of fighting in BUG. But we're not into even Chung Kyu yet, we're still in Siu Lim Tao. But this is what we're looking at, this distinct change from first third, develop the strength of the muscles. Second third, develop the understanding how to use that strength, the energy, the kinetic energy, half mv squared. From relaxation into tension. And then the last third, set stance, we're looking at like more applying that in more practical sense. But relax through a Wuso, pax out. Relax back to the center, horizontal palm, finish, rotate, relax, close, pull back. So I open the hand, I relax it to a Wuso position in the last 10 centimeters, tension. Relax it back, out as a horizontal palm. Now, the vertical palm, I say is more of a palm strike. The second one, the horizontal, I use as a Bu cell. So the vertical one I use more the flat palm. The horizontal palm I use more as the Bu cell. So it's a difference in between, with the vertical palm, it's this being the striking area, like I'm focused on in the gum cells. So it's this heavy part of the bone. The horizontal part I'm using as a Bu cell. Now this is more for soft tissue strikes, because it's where there's a tendon attachment. So looking again at the small areas in the neck and the throat. It's not for going up against bone, which the palm strike can. You can hit anything with this, you're not going to really damage the palm. You come in this way with a Bu cell, with this part, and you won't be able to hit that part with it, because it's not, the structure of the hand is not designed that way. So this is why it's a subtly different one. So you've got the heavy palm, and you've got the Bu cell. So now what we're looking at is open the hand, relax to the Wuso position, one fist distance up. Shoulders in a natural position, elbows in a natural position down by the side. So my Wuso position is here. The forearm gives the line of movement, so all I'm doing is pushing to my outer gate boundary. I don't go this way. To me it's the line from shoulder, elbow, wrist, and a straight line. Back to my centre line, no, and finish. So Wuso, Tak Siu. Relax back to centre line, Biu Siu. Flatten, back, rotate, close and back. Relax, Tan Siu again. Relax. Last 10 centimeters. Tan Siu. Fist distance. Now what we're looking at here, it's not so much being on the centre line. It's more important that the forearm is parallel with the centre line from the elbow. I'm not going to force my elbow onto my centre line and destroy the structure of my shoulder. The shoulder has to stay in its strong place. The elbow comes to the fixed elbow position. So this is again this palm is the height of the top of my rib cage. So from here it relaxes, last 10 centimeters, Tan Siu. Relax, Gan Siu. Relax. I lift this into a Tok Siu, Hun Siu, lower palm, return, inside Hun Siu to a Tan Siu position, and then close. I have changed this slightly to suit my way of thinking, of bringing in one new energy, but a deeper understanding of using energies within the hands as a preparation for a second form, as a way to speed up the knowledge of useful energies. I know the story that when Yip Man first started teaching, it used to be Tan Siu, defensive Jam Siu, Tan Siu, Hun Siu, low palm, and used to finish this way. So it was a Tan, defensive Jam Siu, Tan Siu, Hun Siu, low palm, and then finishing this way. But there was Wang Shanglung who had a fight, I think it was a Thai boxer, and he got struck low, and because he didn't, it's only in the third form that the Gan Siu comes in, that Yip Man decided to fit in the Gan Siu at this point, because there wasn't a low defense at that point in the system. So that's why he introduced the Tan to a Gan Siu, then Tan Siu, Hun Siu, palm, and finish off low. And that's what he does on the 8mm thumb. Yip Chun said that towards the end of his stage, or at the end of his days, what he was doing is, he said to him that he should never finish off with a hand low. So what Yip Chun showed me was a Tan to a Gan, Tan, Hun Siu, palm, and bring the hand up and the Tan Siu and close at that position. Because the saying being that you should never leave your hand low, bring it up high to finish. What we're looking at is these energies from this part. As I say, I introduced slight changes for me personally. The Tan Siu, exactly the same Tan Siu from there. And to me, this is the Tan Siu you take out in practice. You relax, last few minutes, Tan Siu. That's it, Tan Siu. Relax, Tan Siu. So it's simply just one Tan Siu. Then what we're doing, so we're going relax, Tan. That's the bit that you take out the form of practice. Relax, Tan. From here, relax, Gan Siu. So what we're doing is we're understanding the inner gate area. From a Tan Siu, relax, last 10 centimeters, the Gan Siu. So this energy here, in this part of the arm, from there, that is the Gan Siu. From there to there. Relax, Gan Siu. Relax, Gan Siu. Now this is where I change things, because it's to help with in the second third, the first third of the second form, doing Cow Siu, the Jut Siu, the Tok Siu, introducing the Tok Siu here. So from a Tan Siu, Gan Siu, relax up, and Tok. So there's lifting energy. So it's this for the last 10 centimeters, Tok. From here, the Hun Siu looks like that. Now this is quite complicated, because what you're doing is you're using the same movement as the Gan Siu. Because what you're actually trying to do here is you're using it to control somebody's arm. All you're doing with the hand, this hand coming out this way, is to realign the hand so you can do the palm strike. And you're not just doing this. You're not just like a flourish. You're not just waving the hand about. You're using this part of the forearm to control. So it's like from a tan side position to a gan side position. So this makes this really strong. So you've got your fixed elbow position, and you're using this part of the forearm to control somebody's arm. You're getting the palm out of the way, so you can use the palm strike. The next movement is the reverse one. So what I'm doing is I'm coming in this way to close. So I've got this movement as a hunsao to a palm strike, then we've got this movement of a hunsao to a tan position and then close. So it's the tan, gan, top, hunsao to a lower palm, hunsao to a tan sao position and then close. Relax, tense, relax, tense, relax, tense. With this is an immediate energy because it's in contact. Hunsao, relax, tense into the palm strike. Again, immediate energy using the turn, using the hunsao to a tan position. Relax, close, and then back. Relax, tense, relax, tense, relax, tense. Immediate use of the energy in the hunsao. Realign the palm, lower palm. Immediate use in the hunsao to close. Last part is the bong, relax down, palm strike. Bong, relax down, palm strike. So what we're looking at here, the way I do it, is it's slightly different in the way that from here the arm opens and relaxes down. If you notice, my elbow stays down this line and I get almost a tan position and I lift the bong sao. To me, the bong sao is this arm. This comes through many years ago. One of my students, while visiting Foshan, heard about the understanding that the Chinese name for this bone that we call the humerus, hence the funny bone, that they call the bong. So what we're really looking at is this, the bong, another translation is a wing arm, but it's not. The real understanding, to me personally, what I use all the time, there's no such thing as like a flapping wing. It's not a wing arm. All you're doing is understanding the strength of this bone. So what we're looking at, so to form the bong sao, arm right back, you open the hand, it just relaxes. So my elbow is not going out, I'm not going outside the inner gate area. The elbow stays inside the inner gate area, on the boundary of the inner gate area, and just lifts. Then from here is to understand that when your elbow is away from the fixed elbow position, you protect it by dropping it back to the fixed elbow position. From here, you create another palm strike. Now this is just a flexibility thing. Now we have palm strikes from pointing down, sideways, and up. So it's nothing drastic about it. It's just let's have flexibility in being able to hit from wherever your hand is. It's not you have to have a vertical palm, it's not that you have to have a horizontal palm, it's not that you have to have a hand that's pointing down. It's just you're forming extremes. Understand the different points of the hand that your hand can use. But what I'm saying is here with the bong sao, is the bong comes out this way. So what I'm doing is I'm learning to flick this bong, this bone here, relaxes into almost like a tan position at the side of the body and then just lift. This is your bong sao and then just drop it. To me the bong sao is used only in two positions, only two times. It's either your hands down, quickest thing to get there, or if your wrist's taken, you've still got your elbow to use. So it's the two times that you only use the bong sao. Is if the arm's down, lift it. If your wrist's taken, you've still got it. So this is like the bong sao. So but from the bong, it's weak, you're vulnerable, drop it back to the fixed elbow position. From there, palm straight to the fixed point down there. Up and finish. The last part of the form to me again is important because it's the link in between Siu Lim Tao and Chung Kyu. We place the hand on the centre. Now really all I'm doing is I'm placing the Bu style part of my hand on my centre line. So I'm placing the wrist on the centre line. I'm bringing my hand up into a Wu style again, wrist on the centre line. Relax down until the last 10 centimetres. Then I put the energy into a Bu style going down. At the same time as I'm putting the Bu style energy going down, I'm pulling back up. I'm rotating, almost like a hunsa. Upward hunsa, take jutsu. So it's, I relax down, and these two energies together. Relax down, two movements together. Relax down, two movements together. Then it comes out as a fist, punch once, twice, 3 times, open back, rotate, close, back to finish. This is where it's the first time that we're using two hands together. It's the first time we're using different energies at different directions. So this is an introduction to using both hands together, but without any stance turn. So to me, it's a nice little link to Chung Kyu. But in reality, what I'm doing is I'm doing that and that, that and that, that and that. I am not scraping down the arm, I'm not wiping, I'm not dusting off, I'm not doing anything like that. All I'm doing is place my hand on my centre line. I bring my other wrist onto the centre line. I fire down, relaxing, like we've learned in the second third, so relax and tense. Relax at the last moment. There's two energies expressed together. Relax, two energies, relax, two energies. Now, my wrist is still on the centre line, punch 1, punch 2, punch 3. It's only then that we're finishing. Bring the heels in, bring the toes in, and then relax, and that completes the form.
See you.
Right, when we're looking at stances and structures, again, we're looking at quite precise positions, understanding usage, and so it's the movement of the stance. So we've talked about a little bit before, but we're going again, we'll just talk about some of these positions. Again, be aware, what I'm doing is, as soon as before I start the stance, again, I start flexing it back. I'll become aware of it. When I form the stance, forming into this position, it's about bringing the hips, not so much, people say about bringing it, it's not lifting up, rotating this way, it's much more creating a link between the knee and the shoulder. So it's this straight line here. I'm not sitting down in this way, I'm leaning back, so my back's straight, and from my shoulder down from my back to my knee is a straight line, and then which is over the heel. So that's where you see there's two straight lines. From my shoulder there's a straight line down to my heel, but there's another one through my spine, through my hip to my knee. And the knee is, you can go look down, the toes are just in front, so you're not sitting down too much and you're coming in. But it's this feeling of this strong structure, again it's where we can start looking at it. This is the platform for when we're actually going to drive. So from here in the form, I develop this strong feeling of a strong posture with my head back. When I turn in this position. Now I hold this position here, so when I actually drive with the back leg, I'm driving this as a whole platform. My hip and my shoulders, my whole body is being driven by this movement in the back leg. I turn, it's this from this position that I can drive off the back leg. So this is what it's essentially understanding where my weight is in relationship to my heel and also this bent leg. If it's bent, I straighten it. If I'm in a classical forward stance, if I'm looking this way, if I straighten my leg, all I do is go up. My body weight has got to be in front of me heel, but push forward with it by straightening the leg. If I'm in the classical Wing Chun stance and only weight to the back leg, I can only push up. That's all I've got. It's only when I come forward. So it's an understanding of structure. It's not about being restricted to so-called fighting stances, forward-facing fighting stances. When we're looking at this, we've got to understand the structure that we have. That's why it's important to realise that this is about this leg being in the position from the heel, through the knee, through the hip, and then forward in this direction. Because it's only here that I can rotate in this direction. Because my hip, in relationship to what would be my centre line facing the opponent in this stance, this hip now is rotating away from pointing at that centre line. Rather than the third form, with my feet are open now, if I now move, the hip is going toward the area. So this is why this is added to. This is why this is third form knowledge of stance work. This is why the third form, with the footwork more open, is about going forward off this stance or forward off this stance. So you have the two stances. You've got to try and reinforce the idea that this is the stance going in this direction, the stance going in that direction. Once I've understood this direction, then I drive off here. Then bring the foot back up. I fall, drive, and then recover. Fall, drive, land, and then recover. Fall, drive, land, and then recover. So in this stage, what we understand is the falling phase, a driving phase, and a landing phase. So if we're understanding this, again, if we're moving forward, as soon as I make, this is where we can link its initial stages of understanding stance and stepping. This is where it comes back to the second third of Chum Kyu. When we're looking at this. When we're looking at this. So as soon as I make the decision to step, as I'm falling, I'm putting an arm up. So again, same thing. From here, when I make the decision to step, I punch, then land, and then recover. I fall, punch, land, and then recover. Fall, punch, land, and then recover. What I'm looking at is an ability to understand as soon as I make the decision to step, my hand is coming up. That could just be a single punch. It could be 2 punches, it could be 3 punches, it could be 4 punches. From here, it could be 5 punches before the foot lands. That's irrelevant. This is practice, this is understanding. This is something that we're looking at as an understanding. From here, I make a step. As soon as I make the decision to step and fall, I drive and come up. This is, I'm just using the mansa. As soon as I step, the mansa is coming out. As soon as I step, the mansa is coming out. Turn just on the heels. Again, turning's dealt with more in Chum Kyu, but you can go through, back to square, rotate on the leg. The next thing to understand about this idea of stepping forward is as soon as you make the decision to step, hand comes out. If I'm coming back, my structure from my heel to my knee to my pelvis is already there, so I can just step back. I don't have to fall. I've already got a structure to step back, to step back, to step back. So this is, again, an understanding of going forward and going back. It's an understanding of the structure that you have. It's an understanding of where your weight is in relationship to your heel. If I'm in this forward-facing stance, my weight, my training stance is that only weight is on the back leg, so I have to fall before I can drive and then punch. if my weight is in this position, I've already got my weight in relationship to my heel to go back. So I can immediately step back. So I'm developing this energy, this understanding of this muscle group to take us back. And from here, forward. In the classical stance of being in this position, why do I have the weight on the back leg? A lot of people say it should be 50-50. Because this is the way we're going to be using it. We're going to be here to make that step off. The reason why you shouldn't be 50-50 in this position, or especially if your foot's forward, is because you've only got one stance. All you've got is one back leg to actually go from. Off this foot I can go backwards. Off this leg I can only go forward. I can go forward in this way, but I'm restricted in my stance. This is why really what we're in Wing Chun, you've got to remember that Siu Lim Tao and Chung Kyo are not designed as fighting principles and concepts. They're designed for you to understand how your body works. It's only really in Jiu-Jitsu that you're understanding more about fighting. So what we're talking about is something different. So from here, from this position now, because again now I've got two stances, I've got a diversity, I've got a choice of which foot I'm going to come off. I don't know. As soon as I place a foot, that is where I'm going. As soon as I make a decision to step, from here I can't step back, I can't step forward, I can't turn energy, or I can't place a foot to step off. There's all the options from there, but these are not Siu Lim Tao level understanding. What we're trying to do is understand the muscles and the muscle groups that do certain actions. So we're looking at the structure of the stance, we're looking at its ability to be strong, that through the spine and the stomach, this is the platform that I link my shoulders to my hips, to my knee, to the floor, the heel, to drive. So at the point of contact, I'm going through the whole structure. So it's an understanding of the structures of the body involved from the heel to the knee, to the hip, to the spine, using the stomach and the back muscles, to the shoulders, and then from the shoulders out through the elbow to the wrist, into the hand. Just a quick conversation about Wusao, Mansao. Wusao is probably the most important technique that you have. It's the technique, it's a precision, it hasn't got an energy. It's your protective hand. To start off, if you've actually got, there's really, you've got a Wusao position as far as Siu Lim Tao is concerned, and you've got a Wusao position as far as application is concerned. So you want to have your fist distance, so you want to be coming out into this position. So your Wusao is, we'll understand it as initially at this distance, it's one fist distance off. So this is the closest it's ever going to be. You never want your actual arm touching the body. If your arm's touching the body, then anything that hits the arm will hit the body. And so you need this barrier of anything that comes into the Wusao. But the Wusao, every time you do any technique, the Wusao comes up. You do a bouncer, the Wusao comes up. If you're just doing a tanza, the Wusao will come up. If you do a paksa, the Wusao will come up. So the Wusao is what you really need to be focused on, and that happens immediately. There's no time when you don't do the Wusao again, unless this is where you see a lot of people doing it. So they do something, and the hands down here. They'll do a punch, and the hands down here. If you do anything, the Wusao comes into play. With the Wusao relaxes out. This is what we're looking in. When we're doing a punch, we've talked about is that actually from a Wusao position, This is the man Sao position. So the actual movement of the man Sao from a Wu Sao, this is the asking. So the asking hand is not so much once it's stopped, because the man Sao is stopped at this point, and it's about to change into something. So we'll have a Wu Sao, an asking hand, then it will change into whether it's a punch, whether it's a Gan Sao, Pak Sao, even a Gan Sao or a Gun Sao, or a punch or a palm or a Bu Ji, Bu Sao. And then change a man Sao changes into something. It's not an end result, it's an in-between. So we're starting off with a Wu Sao. The man Sao asks the question out, what's there, and depends what's there, it changes. So from in this position of the man Sao coming out, it can change. The man Sao can change to a Kan Sao, Wu Sao can change into a punch. If I'm coming out, the man Sao can change into a Pak Sao, the Wu Sao can change into a punch. It depends, so there's no fixed idea. What we're actually looking whether it comes in from if you take a step forward, if I'm moving in, this man Sao has already stepped, what I do, I'm asking out again. If I'm stepping into somebody, I am asking out again. The reason why you would never step in this way. Once your guard is up, your man Sao and your Wu Sao is up, your man Sao is being used to here. Once it's being used, it's vulnerable. If you step into somebody into this position and step in, your front hand will be a target. Somebody can just grab your fingers and break them. So as you're stepping in, you want to be stepping in with a man Sao. The man Sao is a movement from the Wu Sao. If I turn, my man Sao changes as my body turns, it still just comes out. I'm not swinging my arms around this way. If I turn 180 degrees from here, my man Sao will come out. It changes out. It changes out. So what we're looking at in this position is the man Sao feels out. It gets to this position, if there's nothing there, it can change into a punch. If there's something there, it can change into a Kan Sao. Again, it changes, the man Sao changes. Again, the Wu Sao does not have an energy. Even the Wu Sao can change into an attacking or defending technique. Again, the Wu Sao is not in itself, it's more of a preparation. It's your hand being in a protective position. So if your hand's doing, your man Sao goes out, your Wu Sao is protected. If the Bong Sao goes out, the Wu Sao is protected. If the Tan Sao goes out, it comes from a fist comes from the Wu. This is still, even though it's close as a fist, it's more from a man Sao. Because I don't know that the punch is going to land yet. I don't know till I get to here that the punch is coming in. This is what we've learned and understood from this part of the second form, Siu Lim Tao. Relax, tense, relax, tense. Relax, tense. So your punch is just at the end. So you're not punching from here, you're punching from there. And so once you've gone through the Wu Sao, Man Sao position before you strike. So when we understand the Wu Sao and the Man Sao relationship, again, it's more about being relaxed. It's more about in preparation. It's about what are you facing, not what are you predicting is going to happen. Because in reality, you can't predict what's going to happen, so therefore you need to stay flexible. So if I'm moving into a situation, again, I would never just step straight down. You always talk about it, but this is that needs to be talked about at a different time. This is when we use like circle stepping and moving in, moving off lanes and moving back on lanes. But to start off with, you need to understand this position of stepping, falling, driving. But while I'm falling, the man cell is coming out. As I'm moving in, my hand is coming out. It's coming in through it from a Wu cell position, a man cell position, then it would be a punch. Wu cell, man cell, punch, then the foot lands. Wu cell, man cell, punch, then the foot lands. Wu cell, man cell, punch, then the foot lands. So it's actually, when we're talking about something as simple as a punch, a stepping punch, it's not that simple. Because there is this falling phase, a man cell phase, a hitting phase and a landing phase and a recovery phase. Well, it can get quite complicated. Right, training punching, chain punching, punching in general. When you're starting off, one of the first, it's always what I call lesson 1. Inside lesson 1 you learn how to develop a stance. You learn to define your inner gate area and your centre line. Step 2. Step 3 is you learn from how to punch from the Wu cell through the man cell in the last few inches, punch. Open the hand back and the rotation of the Hun cell to strengthen the wrist. But essentially what we're going to be talking about here is about understanding the punch. Essentially it's from the Wu cell, relax, man cell, last few inches, punch. So this idea from here to here is relaxed. And your punch is in the last few inches or 10 centimeters. This is where we're going to actually start thinking about the practicalities of the punch. Well, the hand's coming out. The hand comes out from Wu cell, man cell, and then punch. What we're looking at when we actually exercise is this idea of center, correct structure. So from the fixed elbow position, it's more from the fixed elbow position, that's where I'm actually punching from. So up until my hand gets to my elbow, gets to my fixed elbow position, that's when I'm punching. At this point here, that's when, once I know the other forms, when I'd be looking to hit at this point and drive through. So you're not looking to hit with a straight arm, you should be looking to hit with the bent arm, the fixed elbow position. And then you'll be driving through that point. In the early stages, what I normally tell people is all you're doing is you're closing your hand as a fist and straightening your arm. So all you're doing is close your hand as a fist and straighten the arm. I don't like to use the term punch, especially with beginners, because the word has almost emotional meaning. The subconscious already thinks it knows how to punch, and so this will go back to, you can normally see it if you ask somebody to punch a hand or to punch the focus point really hard. They'll start winding up and they'll start twisting their face, they'll start doing many things that have got nothing to do with the punch. But because when you say a punch, people go, "Rah!" and they get aggressive with it. This is the linkage of the word. To punch somebody has a subconscious link to the emotion, to the fighting. So what we're trying to do is trying to remove that. So what we're looking at from this position, fist in a Wu cell position, relaxed, relax out, fixed elbow position, then punch. And this point doesn't change. So from here, even when we're doing with the chain punches, so you start off doing this 1, 2, 3, and then back 4. 1, 2, 3, back 4. 1, 2, 3, and back and 4. 1, relax, tension at the end, and then back. Wu cell, man cell, tension at the end, then back. Wu cell, man cell, tension at the end, and then pull back. Once we start doing this, once we've got that as an exercise, then we start going into chain punching. Chain punching is not, it is often used as an attacking technique in its own right, just blasting in with chain punches. It can be very effective at a low level, low to medium level, because most of our fighting styles or basic street fighters will have not come across this style of punching before, and so will get caught out by it. But anybody who knows anything about fighting, it's quite easy to deal with. So although it's chain punching, it's more of an exercise than a strict fighting technique. So all you're really doing is you're understanding fist center, Wu Sao, Man Sao, straight. At that point, bringing the other hand up. Now what we're now doing is the backhand is the Wu Sao. Now this starts to go through a Man Sao position. It's only when it gets to the Man Sao position that when you punch and the other hand comes back. So this comes out. So from here, punch is coming up through. I've actually made the tension. Wu Sao, Man Sao, punch. Wu Sao, Man Sao, punch. So this hand comes out, then takes over. Hand comes out, then takes over. The hand comes out, then takes over. The hand comes out, then takes over. There's two exercises I do for that. That's one exercise that's good for training, because you're training this hand to stay out until it gets replaced. You're not taking the hand out the way so the other hand can hit. So I'm not doing that. I'm doing that. My hand is coming out before this one moves to replace it. I'm not taking it out the way, so I'm not doing a chain of punches. All I'm doing is one punch after another punch. It shouldn't, so it's not whether you do them in singles, twos, threes, fours, fives, sixes, sevens, eights, 9, or 10. They're still separate single units. So it's about the relax, tense, relax, tense, relax, tense, relax, tense, relax, tense. So I always say when there's a sequence where you can practice, it's a good exercise, good for helping to strengthen the shoulders, get a bit of, if you do 10 single punches, 10 two punches, and 10 3 punches, 10 4 punches, 10 5 punches, 10 6 punches, 10 7, 10 of 8, 10 of 9, and 10 of 10. Then you'll have done 550 punches, which is a good, nice little exercise to warm up to use the muscles, to try to get the speed. This is an exercise that helps fitness of the shoulders and the muscles that are using, but more about being able to relax more and to work the muscles that you're using in the punch, about being relaxed and only tensing just at the end. So say I use two methods to try to keep the isolation of the hand. So I have this idea from the punch that the backhand from the Wu Sao comes through the Man Sao, and it's only at the last few inches or centimeters that the change is over. This comes out and then it replaces it, comes out and it replaces it. The other way of doing it is to drop the hand, straighten it, bring this one back. To drop the hand, straighten it, and then bring it back. These two exercises are designed to keep the arms independent, that you're not doing this. Pulling this back does not send that one out any stronger. If I use tension coming back this way, I'm creating energy in this direction. You might say, yeah, but it's throwing this shoulder out, but it's still creating a negative energy. If I'm trying to hit somebody this way, I'm creating quite a strong energy going away from the person who I'm trying to hit. What I want to be trying to do is to keep everything as relaxed as possible, so everything along the line is punching out. Everything along the line is punching out. Everything from my heel through my body to my fist is punching out. It's punching out, out, and out. I normally restrict once when we're looking at understanding the structure of a punch as a strike. At the most do 3. So we do just groups of 3. Singles, 2s, 3s. At the most 3 in a group. When you're actually trying to understand and develop the structure and understand of a hit. Because you need to have this, because otherwise you're starting to not hit. You're starting just to, as soon as you know you're going to make a count, you're pulling away. It's more, you're more slapping the surface rather than actually penetrating with the punch. And it's developing a penetrating punch. This is the whole thing. From day one, we're introduced to the punch. This is where, over the years, I've changed my methods in understanding from the start now, where I'm looking at developing this as turning engine. So now what I can actually think about is that a turning punch. A turning punch. So from the first day, I introduce a turning punch. So we're looking at this idea of from the floor, from the heel, punch with the fist. There's a connection from day one, from your heel, knee, hip, shoulder back, stomach in the back, shoulder, elbow, fist. So again, it's 90% of street situations can be dealt with a simple punch. It's not always that easy though. This is why we need to continue training. Lesson 1 though is still very relevant in many situations. What we're looking for is this understanding of that, and this changes. When we have the understanding that the chain punches, what it is, it's important for that. Again, it's nice and relaxed. What we're actually looking at here is we're understanding the maximum speed that our hands can operate, going out and back. And we're looking at laps and strikes, or juts. So operating that, I used to be, when I used to train for more speed and doing things. I was once time doing, I did 50 punches in 5.5 seconds. That'd take a lot longer now. But that's sort of, but around about that sort of time scale. Now when you're looking at your hands operating at that speed, that's what's the importance of using chain punching as an exercise. Not so much as chain punching, but just to get the relaxed speed of what you can actually achieve and how fast you can get your hands to operate. So the hands are, you've got an operating speed of going out, so you've got this idea of the dummy, so you want, so you can actually use the hands in this action. So you're looking at is keeping the elbows in, so it's the elbow action that we're looking at. Whether it is a strike, or a jut, or a lap. But you're developing hand speed and relaxation. But the understanding of a punch is from the Wu style, man style, last few centimetres or inches, then that's when your energy's put in. But it should be straight. Relax down, straight, relax down, straight, relax down, straight. Okay, little exercise about in between first form and second form. There is of course the obvious one of doing Siu Lim Tao on one leg. This is also a useful exercise to do, even in just a way to start preparing for one leg. You can do it in various ways, even if you just have people just resting the foot on to maintain the balance. Sifu used to talk about when he was in Hong Kong, what they used to do was just to practice the stance, to develop the back leg prior to Chung Q or through Chung Q, or it's just to read a book while you stand on one leg. I used to play video games, do things just always standing on one leg. Just start to practice stretch, just exercises it. Don't take a lot of thinking, but increase, instead of standing in this position without just everything focused on the one leg. This is something that you need to be starting to think about. It's all about one leg. Everything onto one leg. Everything onto one leg. Everything onto one leg. A lot of people say that you should be standing, your stance is 50-50. I'll go on and I'll talk about this again probably when I get to BOG, but reinforcing Siu Lim Tao, it's not, your weight is in between your feet. When you use the leg, it's all one leg. What you've got here, although the weight is 50-50, I've got the choice of when to use the stance, this is two stances, again, reinforcing two stances. What it means is when I use either stance, whether I'm using it this way or this way, I only ever use one leg at a time. If in Chi-Sao, when I'm doing it again in a more advanced fashion, if I use the small energies, the controlling energies, if I do that, and I'm exaggerating this movement of this, it's still all the weight on one leg, all the weight on the other leg. What we're doing in Chung Q when we're starting to prepare for Chung Q is that we're understanding all the weight on one leg. So if we're looking at the turning aspect, it's all the weight on the one leg, then I turn, all the weight on the other leg, then I turn. It is not. This changes and develops with practice. So when we're shifting and changing, when we look at the turning, initially you can put your weight all on the heel and then rotate. So all your weight totally transfers, then rotate. Totally transfers, then rotate. What I have a tendency of doing is throwing my weight onto that. So all my weight is on the heel, even though my body weight structurally is still 50-50. It's in a virtual, because when I do that, all my weight for that split second is on my right heel, and I turn. Again, I throw all my weight onto my left heel, and then I turn. So again, I'm using all the weight on the one leg, then turn. All the weight on the other leg, then turn. This is an understanding again, so we're looking at the muscles that are creating this turning energy. Now what I'm looking at here is the muscles in the leg. That's why from this point, it's the hips are going through 180 degrees. My hips are going through 180 degrees. To me, this is, if you learn to do it this way, do it the most difficult way, you can do it the easy way. To me, it's an exercise. It's an exercise in understanding the muscles, and an exercise to get a whole movement of 180 degrees. 180 degrees. So I'm getting this flexibility of movement of the leg. Also, I'm getting to become balanced. God, for most people, it's an unbalancing situation. So again, this feeling of shift and turn. The turning and stepping is starting to develop now. In the early stages of basic stance, basic understanding, somebody comes in with a punch, just move onto the one leg. Just move onto the one leg. So you're moving out, so you shift your head to the centre line, move your head across to your heel into a classic position. So that's stage one of turning. Just move your head. Move your head off centre line, back to centre line, off centre line, back to centre line. Head over the heel, back to the centre. Over the heel, back to the centre. To gain a little bit more realism in training or in applications, you can start looking at, from this point, taking a step out. A step out, and then back to the centre. This can help a beginner to gain confidence in a technique. We always tend to move away to start off with, to step away. This then after Chung Q, we then would be starting to think about stepping away but towards the person. Stepping towards the person. So although I'm stepping off the centre line to centre line connection, I'm stepping towards my opponent. Stepping towards my opponent. So the stepping is now starting to change in attitude. If I do take the step out, I would then circle up and step forward. This is the circle step, right angle step, and the initial step is 45. Then you bring in the knee up to cover your centre line, and then so you're stepping out, it would then be 45. And then bringing the foot back up into play. So the idea is you go a 45 step, 90-degree step. This is just from a basic stance. 45 through 90, and then recover. So step again when we're looking at circles, this circle stepping again when we're looking back into this in view G, we'll be looking at this again. This is much more mechanical. Again, we want to try and maintain. We've got this mechanical method of understanding our feet placement. Turn the feet, step, keeping the feet parallel, and recover. From here, you're stepping out, 45 into a stance, keeping the feet parallel, the feet come up, and now go out 90 degrees and recover. Trying to give yourself an understanding of this mechanical stepping position, so you're always in control of where your feet should be. You want to try to develop the theme from Siu Lim Tao into Chum Kiu. So the stance work of being very precise stays very precise in Chum Kiu. When you're trying to understand the applications of stepping out, when I step, I put my foot to where it would be my back foot. So anytime when I place my front foot is in reality my back foot for using energy on. This sounds a bit strange, but it's true. Every time I move in, the foot that's in front of me would be the foot that I fire off. I've placed it down, it's the foot that I would fire off. The foot that I would fire off is the one that's in front of me, is the one I fire off. Taking this back into when we start understanding Chi Siu, when we're doing more advanced Chi Siu, when we've gone on from understanding Chi Siu after Chum Kiu, and our Chi Siu stance starts to relax, more like a view G stance, we now have this understanding of load a leg and fire, load a leg and fire, load a leg and fire. So now I'm stepping without moving. This is like being in this part of the dummy. So if we can look at that, what I do is load my right leg, fire it off. Load my left leg, fire it off. Load my right leg, fire it off. So I'm actually changing stance there. So I can change stance of right, left, left. And as quickly as 1, 2, 3, 4. So this action, these actions here can be actually used actually quicker than that. I can do the actions quicker than I can my hands. Because this is where, because I'm not moving that much. It's these movements here of load right, load left. Now these actions can be either going forward or back. So I've got the choice of going forward or back. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is the way understanding stance turning from Chum Kiu comes into play. So Chum Kiu is a massive step in understanding how to use your Wing Chun. Again, how to use Siu Lim Tao. Most of the hand movements are in Siu Lim Tao. There's not that much extra in Chum Kiu. So the whole developmental process of Chung Q is a lot more difficult because it's involving the whole body. In Siu Lim Tao, we've just got basically strengthening the legs and then learn how to use single arm movements. Double arm movements that done the same things are going on. Single arm movements. Only right at the end we use two-handed movements done at the same time. But in Chung Q, it's all about understanding the whole body working together.